The massive Boeing assembly buildings in Everett, Washington, are usually alive with the sounds of industry. Giant machines humming, workers bustling, and the constant movement of parts coming together to create the world's most advanced aircraft. Today, an unsettling silence hangs in the air, echoing through the vast, empty halls where innovation once thrived. The production lines for the iconic 777 and 787 Dreamliner jets stand motionless. Tools lie untouched, and the once busy floor is now eerily still, as if time itself has stopped. This is not just a Boeing story, it's a warning for the global economy, a signal that the ripple effects of international conflict can reach every corner of the world. On July 15, 2025, China announced a 25% tariff on all large U.S. commercial aircraft, a direct retaliation for new U.S. levies on Chinese technology. The move sent shockwaves through the aviation industry and beyond. Boeing, America's largest exporter, is now at the center of a trade war, caught in the crossfire of escalating tensions between two economic superpowers. The shutdown of its main jet facility is a stark symbol of fractured U.S.-China relations, threatening to drag the world economy down with it. The consequences are already rippling through global markets. For decades, the skies connected us, carrying people, goods, and ideas across continents, fueling growth and opportunity. Now they're a battlefield for economic dominance, with every flight and every deal caught in the struggle for power. The silence in Everett is a warning shot. Our global supply chains are more fragile than we thought, and a single disruption can bring entire industries to a halt. This isn't just about tariffs, it's about people. Thousands of workers whose livelihoods depend on these jobs now face an uncertain road ahead, and hundreds of suppliers, from small family businesses to major parts manufacturers, are suddenly left in limbo, unsure if orders will ever resume. Travelers worldwide may soon see higher ticket prices and fewer flight options, as airlines struggle to adapt to shrinking fleets and rising costs. As the world watches, the stakes could not be higher. The future of global travel, trade, and economic stability hangs in the balance. This crisis didn't appear out of nowhere. It's the result of years of growing US-China tensions in aerospace. For decades, Boeing and Airbus dominated the skies, with China as one of Boeing's biggest customers. But China wanted more than to buy planes, it wanted to build them. Through its Made in China 2025 policy, Beijing invested billions in its own aerospace company, COMAC, aiming to break the Western duopoly. The COMAC C919, designed to rival Boeing's 737, signaled China's ambitions. While Boeing tried to secure its market with local partnerships, US officials worried about technology theft and forced transfers. The result? Deep mistrust, even as business ties grew. Aerospace became a microcosm of the broader US-China rivalry, collaboration and competition, side by side. It was only a matter of time before a trade dispute turned airplanes from symbols of connection into weapons of economic warfare. The crisis escalated rapidly, sending shockwaves through the global economy and igniting a chain reaction that few could have predicted. On July 1, 2025, the US imposed sweeping new tariffs on Chinese tech imports, aiming to protect domestic industries but risking retaliation. Just 2 weeks later, China struck back with a targeted blow, a 25% tariff on US commercial aircraft over 15,000 kilograms, directly hitting Boeing's core business and its most profitable export. China accounted for a staggering 25% of Boeing's deliveries, representing $20 billion in annual revenue. Practically overnight, that crucial market disappeared, leaving a gaping hole in Boeing's order book. Over 150 planes, once destined for Chinese airlines, now sit idle in storage, freezing tens of billions in expected revenue and creating a logistical nightmare for the company. In response, Boeing halted all new deliveries to China and suspended production at its massive Everett and Renton plants, a move that directly impacted the livelihoods of more than 30,000 workers and sent ripples through the entire supply chain. The company's stock price plummeted, erasing billions in market value, while the US government swiftly condemned China's retaliatory move. The timeline was relentless. July 1, US tech tariffs. July 15th, China's aircraft tariffs. By July 18th, Boeing officially halted all China-bound deliveries. Just 4 days later, on July 22nd, the company announced a full production shutdown, stunning the industry. For Boeing's workers, political rhetoric and promises offer little comfort as they face empty factories, uncertain paychecks, and a future clouded by doubt. The giant of American aviation, once a symbol of innovation and strength, has been brought to its knees by forces beyond its control. This shutdown is more than just a business crisis. It's a seismic shock to the entire U.S. industrial base, threatening jobs, communities, and the nation's manufacturing future. The world is watching closely, waiting to see if this is merely a temporary pause or the beginning of a long, dark chapter for American industry. The stakes, both economic and geopolitical, are enormous. The silence in Everett now speaks volumes, a haunting reminder of how quickly giants can fall. Behind the headlines, the real impact is felt by workers and families in Everett and Renton. Boeing isn't just an employer, it's the backbone of these communities. The shutdown has thrown tens of thousands into uncertainty. Mortgages, healthcare, and college savings are all at risk. A veteran mechanic says, "The world wants to fly, our order books are full. But because of a fight between governments, I'm told to stay home." Young engineers, assembly workers, and support staff all share the same anxiety. The union is scrambling to secure pay and benefits, but options are limited. The fear, a temporary shutdown, could become permanent if the dispute drags on. These workers did nothing wrong. They built world-class products and now find themselves collateral damage in a global power struggle. Their futures are on hold, waiting for decisions made in distant capitals. The human cost of this trade war is real and growing. The Boeing shutdown's shockwave ripples far beyond the factory. Boeing sits atop a vast supply chain, 12,000 U.S. suppliers in all 50 states, plus partners in Japan, Italy, and the UK. When Boeing stops, orders to these suppliers dry up instantly. Small machine shops, software firms, and textile makers face layoffs and production cuts. The pain spreads nationwide. Kansas, Ohio, South Carolina, all feel the impact. Economists estimate every Boeing job supports 3 to 4 more in the wider economy. The total job loss could top 100,000 if the shutdown persists. The crisis is a stark lesson in global interdependence and vulnerability. To understand the crisis, we turn to trade experts. Dr. Evelyn Reed explains, "Targeting Boeing inflicts maximum political pain. Unlike soybeans, you can't easily find new buyers for 100 wide-body jets. The aircraft industry's long cycles and concentrated customers make it uniquely vulnerable." Li Wei, a former Chinese commerce official, says China had to respond forcefully. "Boeing is America's crown jewel. If you attack our core interests, we'll attack yours." Both sides know this is painful. Chinese airlines need these planes too. The risk of miscalculation is high. The shutdown hardens political positions in both countries. Neither side wants full economic decoupling, but both are locked in a cycle of escalation. Dr. Reed warns, "It's now very difficult for either side to find a graceful way out." The Boeing shutdown is the first devastating consequence of this cycle. The longer it lasts, the harder it will be to repair the damage. The world's two largest economies are now locked in a dangerous standoff. The stakes are global, the clock is ticking. In Washington and Beijing, the Boeing shutdown has triggered a diplomatic standoff. Publicly, both sides are uncompromising. The White House calls China's tariff economic blackmail. Beijing projects calm and resilience. Behind the scenes, urgent talks are underway, but trust is at an all-time low. U.S. leaders face pressure to look tough on China while saving American jobs. Chinese officials must show strength at home, even as their airlines' plans are disrupted. Both sides have drawn red lines. Tech dominance for the U.S., tech independence for China. A simple rollback of tariffs seems unlikely. Diplomats are exploring complex solutions, temporary truces, new negotiation frameworks, but progress is slow. The standoff continues, and the economic cost mounts daily. The longer the impasse, the greater the risk of permanent damage. The world waits for a breakthrough. The stakes have never been higher. The Boeing shutdown is a global crisis, shaking confidence in the international trading system. Export-driven countries fear they could be next if superpowers clash. Airbus, Boeing's main rival, stands to gain in China, potentially shifting the industry's balance of power. But the crisis also creates uncertainty. Airlines worldwide face aircraft shortages, higher prices, and delayed fleet renewals. The global supply chain is in disarray, affecting companies far beyond the US and China. This event forces a reckoning with globalization itself. Economic interdependence was supposed to foster peace. Now it's a source of vulnerability. The silence in Everett is forcing the world to rethink the rules of the global economy. As Everett's once bustling assembly lines remain silent, the world stands at a crossroads, watching and waiting. The stillness inside the factory echoes far beyond its walls, symbolizing a much larger uncertainty that now grips the global economy. The best-case scenario? Quiet diplomacy prevails. Behind closed doors, negotiators find common ground, leading to a mutual suspension of tariffs. Boeing restarts production, workers return, and both sides enter new talks, opening the door to renewed cooperation and stability. The worst case is far bleaker: a prolonged shutdown, permanent layoffs, and a deepening global economic split between US and China-led blocs. The ripple effects could last for years, impacting families, communities, and industries worldwide. Most likely, we'll see a tense stalemate. Production may resume in fits and starts, but tariffs and uncertainty will continue to cast a long shadow over the industry, making planning for the future difficult. Boeing could be forced to downsize further, and the US economy will inevitably feel the drag. The effects will ripple through supply chains, affecting countless small businesses and workers. This story is a powerful reminder. No nation is an island. Our economies are deeply interconnected, and decisions made in one country can quickly impact lives around the globe. Economic decisions in one capital have real, tangible human consequences worldwide. Jobs, livelihoods, and futures hang in the balance. The fate of Everett's workers is now tied to decisions made in Washington and Beijing, far from the factory floor, but with enormous impact on everyday lives. This isn't just a story for economists or politicians, it matters to all of us. It's about families, communities, and the future we want to build together. It challenges us to consider: do we want a world of walls and conflict, or one of bridges and cooperation? The choices we make now will shape the world for generations. The silent factory is asking a question that echoes in boardrooms, homes, and governments everywhere. The world is waiting for an answer, holding its breath as events unfold. The next move could change everything. What do you think should happen next? Share your thoughts and let us know in the comments below.